And that's how you do it. Da 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 da. What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. Let people know I've gone live. And in the meantime, right? If you've never met me before, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And today, we spent a little bit of time together as sisters. For those of you who've hung out with me for any length of time, I come from a dynamic family. And as much as I've had a dynamic upbringing, each one of my sisters has played their roles. The matriarch of our family. This is how we look at our sister Tracy. She is the second eldest. I am the eldest of four girls. And we are all alive and we are all kicking and we have all lived our own adventures in those. I don't know. It is in the upbringing that we've had. And each one of us, even though we are sisters, we were brought up a little bit differently in the roles that we played in our family. And much as I played my role, my sisters, each one of us, played their own. And Tracy, oh, she was the lifesaver in our family, right? She truly was. We all looked up to her when my father passed away, that she was able to step into that role because there had to be a leader in our family, right? I didn't want that role. I was off having fun, having adventures, making up for lost time, being my own person. My sister Alice was doing the same thing in her own life and in the choices that she was making and in those adventures that she wanted to have in her own life. My sister Carolyn, right? She wasn't much of an adventurer in life, but she had a stable form about her that made it possible to be a fantastic mother, right? And an amazing wife. Yeah, she was the glue. She was the youngest, and she was my mother's favorite. Though my sister Tracy, she was the matriarch. She was the golden. She was the golden child with all the expectations, and come with expectations comes responsibilities, and she was willing to take that responsibility of being the matriarch. That's a biggie, right? And I butt heads with authority, being right the role in my family. I butted heads with that authority, and the most often than not, she was right, right? But sometimes it's in the way things are presented. And as much as I come from a family of empaths, equally, right, that narcissism runs in the family, and that's where, right, that headstrong, controlling, and narcissistic tendencies that we have. You can't just label somebody as something when they have different ingredients in that pot. And, if anybody tried to label me as just an empath, just a highly sensitive, they'd be highly mistaken. And if they were trying to push me into a corner, right? As much as my sister was the matriarch, as she had the reins and was controlling the shots, you came at me, I would come to the surface in those same aspects just because I don't live that way, right? Doesn't mean that I can't, that I might not be cornered or pushed or have that need to come to that surface. If I had to, I would utilize those tools, right? But I didn't want to. It wasn't my thing, right? I was about making up for what I thought was lost time. I was looking for the beautiful landscapes and the adventures and the experiences that I thought I missed out on. And I didn't want to be matriarch. I didn't want to be boss. I didn't want to be the one that everybody was looking at as the bad guy. And I guess that was probably from my own experiences and my own, right? The jobs that I had, the employment, and the sometimes what I thought might be a career. And then to be able to look at the leaderships in those teams, right? And just know that just was not for me. I am a leader, but I'm a leader in my own right, just as the experience of who I am and in the life that I'm living. Today was kind of a day that we were kind of in our heads a little bit. You never deny your own because, in the end, that's all you've got. And whether it's your family, right? And whether you're looking at it as your political family or your religious or spiritual family or your actual blood, right? Even your adoptive family, it's whoever takes you into your fold. I've had friends that I've considered family, right? And even though they might not be here today with me in this moment, they're off on different adventures, or maybe they're not here at all anymore, right? In my own beliefs, I suspect that we are going to bump into each other again. And so when we're cleaning out my sister's house today, I was a little bit in reflection. Growing up, there was no divorce. I never knew anybody that had divorced or gotten married or separated. Right? I had one friend growing up that didn't have a father, but that was her mother having her out of wedlock. But I had, right? I never even understood that concept. And in my own family, I was the first to divorce, right? My marriage fell apart, and things fall apart for different reasons. And did I fight for my marriage? Probably not as hard as I could have, but I think I fought as hard as I should have, because things come in and out of our lives for different reasons. And, I could have easily held that back. I could have, right? I knew how my husband felt about me, and I could have made it difficult for him, and I could have guilted in that marriage to still exist, possibly to exist even to right now. But we each have to be able to allow ourselves to find the happiness that we are meant to find, not to be stuck in marriages and in relationships that don't serve us, that actually might even hurt us or hurt others, you know, come from a dynamic family that might have served much better if divorce was considered the norm at the time, right? But that wasn't the generation that I came from, and I'm grateful that the cards played out the way they did, because I was able to have my father in my life right to his very last day, right? My dad had congenital heart disease. So he never even thought he was going to have the opportunity to have a family, and he got to have that gift, right? It's pretty amazing the things that we're told that we'll never get to have, or we never think that we'll ever get to expect to experience in our lives, just to have it, materialize, right? And then to think or not think about the possibility of things coming to an end, and right, and have to make different decisions in our lives, and yeah, different thoughts, right? Because when it touches home and gets close, then it becomes a little bit of a topic of discussion and a topic of thought. But being somebody, what you think about is realized. I don't tend to dwell on the negative, even when I'm in the negative, right? Right? That I always look for the positive, because I know the positive is lurking there too, right? You just have to look for it sometimes, and you can look for the heavy or you can look for the light in things, right? Cleaning out my sister's house today, and yeah, reminiscing a lot about the relationships in our lives, the important ones, and they're all important, even the painful ones are important, and we don't take that into consideration. And sometimes we just say good riddance to that relationship, but that relationship offered up so much information for us, right? And sometimes we're so eager just to get it over and done with that we don't take in the lessons. We never look back on it. We never, right, learn our lesson, and then we step right back into the same type of relationship that wants to drag us under, right? We live in a world where divorce is the norm. It's more than acceptable, right? And not in all cultures, but this digital age affords us to uh, assimilate a little bit with each other. And some of these things that are not culture, are part of our culture right now, could easily be just because we see it in other cultures as the norm, right? And that's how new ideas are sprung, the new normalities are sprung, like things become habit, become the norm, right? Things should always be changing. This is what I think. And you know and when things are changing, that's this movement. And I would like to just keep setting goals, even amongst the stuff that doesn't feel good, that isn't working out quite the way I thought it would. The kinks, the rocks thrown into the engine, that no matter what, I'm just going to just keep moving. I'm just keep going to move forward, right? Because if it drags us back, right, then we're only going to think of the future of what we don't have. And what you think about is what you realize, right? And I don't want to be thinking about what I don't have. And I don't want to think of those dreadful possibilities either, because again, what you think about is realized, and we can just bring them into our lives a whole lot faster and a whole lot stronger than we even thought it up, right? It's kind of like being um, between what do you call a rock and a hard place, right? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's an obstacle course, and we each one of us get to make our choices, and that's where the lessons lay, right? You take box number one, number two, number three. They all got experiences in them, right? The surprise is what the experience is, and I think no matter what, when you have that experience, you're going to learn something, even if it is you never want to do that again. Yeah. I wanted to use the last little bit of my energy that I had today. I kind of wanted to stir up quite a bit so I could be a little bit of a hand for my sister who could use it, and we got it done. And I've been sitting here like a lump ever since I got home. Just no energy to do anything. I thought maybe I might even do my laundry. I couldn't even. I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even get up and do the dishes, right? But I held myself accountable and I showed up today in my life, even though I didn't know what the topic would be. But I knew the heaviness and the thoughtfulness of the day that I was in, right? And in the interactions that I was having, right? It's not too often that the four sisters get together. Well, it's not four sisters, it was just three sisters. One was in the hospital. But she was there dictating the show, right? That's the digital age for you. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer. We'll see each other tomorrow. Have a great